Hey everyone, all right, I'm finally doing it. I'm ranking every single Soundpeats earbud that I own, which is pretty much all of them, all 16 of them. I do have more, but I'm just gonna rank the ones that you can still buy today. Now, right before we jump in, I'm gonna leave a microphone quality ranking at the end of the video with every single earbud, so be sure to check the timestamps for that. I'll also link an Excel spreadsheet down below with extra rankings such as volume, how bass head certified the earbuds are, and much, much more. So look, you can just check that list, but watch the video, let the suspense build up. All right, if you want to grab any of the buds, I'll leave affiliate links to like the top 5 or top 10 down below. So enough chit chat, let's get into the long awaited Soundpeats ranked. All right, I'll be starting from worst as we work our way up to that number 1 spot. And coming in at number 16, we have the True Wings. Now, this may be a bit of a surprise for some of you. I know plenty of you people out there that love this earbud, but for whatever reason, for me, they just didn't work. Soundpeats were obviously trying to make a budget version of the Powerbeats Pro, which are a great earbud, but they just didn't really execute the fit to suit how they did it. Like with the Powerbeats Pro, they have like a moderately deep fit where the earbud kind of rests outside your ear canal. Whereas on the True Wings, the earbuds just didn't work with my ear. They would always slip out. And then if the fit was too deep and I used the larger ear tips, the bass was just completely overpowered and made everything sound really muffled. And yeah, just again, for me, a little bit of a mess. But I honestly hope they come out with a revised version because apart from the fit, they're a great bud. They're one of the first earbuds from Soundpeats with a transparency mode. So keen for an update soon for the True Wings too. All right, on to number 15, we have the True Buds. And like the True Wings, the main issue why they're so low on the list is because the fit just didn't work again for me, because I just couldn't get the earbud deep enough into my ear canal. So I couldn't get the most out of the sound and they just didn't sound very good at all. So I barely got any bass and the clarity wasn't really there, even if I shoved the earbuds deep into my ear. But don't worry, if you like the semi-in-ear earbud design, Soundpeats have come out with much better versions coming up much higher on this list. If it wasn't for this subpar fit though, these would be much higher because these have actually 70 hours total battery life with a 2600 milliamp hour case that can also be used as a battery bank. So still a really cool feature if you are looking for a battery bank case earbuds combo. All right, on to number 14, we have one of the 2 neckband style earbuds in this video, the Force Pro. The only real issue here is with the sound quality. For a dual driver design, the sound quality, I was honestly just expecting a lot more because they're not bad, but they have treble that is just honestly too harsh. Even at like 50% volume, if you go above 80%, it's incredibly harsh. But apart from that, these are one of Soundpeats' most secure fitting earbuds, great for training, tied with the other neckband earbud coming up much higher in the list. So maybe wait for that. They sound better with the same secure fit. But still, if you want 22 hours of total battery life from these earbuds, then that's a pretty good selling point with the Force Pro. But they honestly don't sound great, so maybe not. All right, on to number 13, we have the original True Capsule. Now, the reason these are lower, they're just an older bud, so the design isn't the best. The earbuds are a little bit chunky, so they're not the most comfortable or secure. And the touch controls, being an older pair as well, just the sensitivity isn't really there, so they don't work like 100% of the time. But these are actually one of Soundpeats' few kind of more balanced sounding earbuds with some really nice treble and a nice clean sound overall. Also, one of Soundpeats' best microphones, even though they are an older pair. It seems like Soundpeats kind of got worse with their microphones over time. And again, even though they're an older pair, you can still use the left or right earbud individually and in mono mode, which is honestly pretty crazy because you still have pairs like the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds, Sennheiser Momentum 2s that are much newer, and you still can't do this, which still baffles me today. So look, if you can maybe grab them for like under $30, they might be worth it if you want a more balanced sound, but Soundpeats have released an upgraded version, the True Capsule 2, coming up soon on this video, as in now, they're number 12. And basically they're just a tweaked up version of the True Capsule. So you're getting slightly better microphone quality when it comes to blocking out background noise, slightly better sound quality, as well as some extra bass that's a little bit deeper. So these aren't as balanced as the True Capsule, but have a more bass head certified sound, we could say. You also get a slightly smaller case with almost double the battery life, a more comfortable and secure fit, and they do look a lot nicer than the kind of outdated True Capsule there. They also improved the touch controls to be a lot more sensitive now, but this is kind of one of their downfalls. They're just a little bit too sensitive, and the placement of them. So when you grab the earbud at the top of the stem, it's very easy to accidentally activate touch controls. Like a quick workaround is that you can grab the earbud just by the stem only, but look, if I want to grab my earbuds, I want to grab them where I feel like I need to. So that's a pretty major con there on the True Capsule 2 for me. And that's why they're coming in at number 12. Now, number 11, we have the AirPods clone, the original True Air, and still to this day, one of the best budget AirPods alternatives that you can get. And they still have Soundpeak's most refined sensitivity when it comes to touch controls. Like, those touch controls work 101% of the time. There's no accidental touches there, and it's just like you can use those touch controls with amazing confidence. The fit on these is also much better than the True Buds. Still, it's not the best to get the most out of the sound. I'd rank it like a 7 out of 10 if the True Buds are like a 4 out of 10. They also don't go incredibly loud, but thankfully there's an updated version coming up much higher in the list, so stay tuned for that. All right, now into number 10, we have the second neckband earbud, and actually the first earbud I ever reviewed on this channel, the Q30 HD. And before I owned the Q30 HD, I actually had the Q30 Plus, which I got like 4 or 5 years ago, and that was actually the first like Bluetooth audio tech that I ever got. So thanks, Griffey, for starting me on this picky journey. And that pair from like 4 or 5 years ago still works completely fine today. So durability is pretty impressive on the Q30 line here. And those buds have been through everything with me. I've trained with them for years. They've been through 2 powerlifting competitions with me. They've just been thrown around and they still work completely fine today. And I use these as my training bud for a solid like 3 years because the security on these with that wingtip is incredible. Some of Soundpeak's best, on par with the Force Pro. The actual neckband cable is a lot smaller here compared to the Force Pro, which I honestly prefer, and they sound just overall a lot better. The treble isn't as harsh. They go incredibly loud with a really nice balanced sound. With bass that hits deep, you get a little bit of that subwoofer feel and some really nice clarity as well for the time that these were released. Just keep in mind, there's also a version with a magnetic charger called the Q35 HD, which I would stay away from. I've had 2 of those pairs die within 6 months because the magnetic charger just didn't end up working, and then if that doesn't work, you can't charge your earbuds up. So look, the Q30 HD, it does use micro USB, but is way more reliable. And if you're looking for a great neckband earbud, under $35, if you can get these are pretty hard to beat, especially if you want a really secure fit for training, and one of the few earbuds nowadays to still have aptX HD. Now, the microphone quality isn't the best, but the Q30 still have a special place in my picky heart. All right, at number 9, we have the True Free 2, and these have to be the best value Soundpeak's bud because I've heard of people getting these for as low as like $25 US, but even for the price, you're getting some pretty amazing quality. They have a really fun sound signature that's bass heavy. They go incredibly loud and have a really nice secure fit. Great for training with the inclusion of that little wingtip there. And these were my go-to training bud for a solid 6 months due to that nice secure fit. The buds also don't go too deep into your ear canal if you're into that, but they are a bit on the chunky side. So if you have small ears, they're probably not going to fit you that well. They also have an IPX7 waterproof rating, and they survived my Picky Beach waterproof testing I did last summer. So I'll leave a link to that video if you haven't checked it out. It's a good time. They do have a couple issues though. First, the physical button is pretty hard to press in, so you have to kind of use that pinch and push technique, and the connection at times isn't the best. Sometimes I'll just take the earbuds out. They'll sound really weird, but a quick fix, chuck them back in the case, take them out, that fixes it every time. So despite those main issues, for the price, they're still 100% worth it. And these have been my number 1 recommendation to a lot of my close friends that have never tried a True Wireless earbud, and they've all loved it. All right, at number 8, we have the Q. And think of these like the True Capsule 2, slightly better without that annoying touch control issue. And I haven't used a Q for a while since I reviewed them, but when I chucked them back in my ears, I was actually blown away by how good they sound. I feel like I kind of forgot, and I think they sound better than when I reviewed them back in the day. But anyway, the sound you're getting here hits nice and deep. You get a bit of that subwoofer feel, but with one of Soundpeak's most clear mid-ranges they've ever had, and a treble response that's also not too bad. The only issue with the sound was with the bass in that upper low end. It was slightly lacking, so things like distorted guitars didn't have as much presence. Apart from that though, the actual volume on these is Soundpeak's loudest. I forgot how loud these go. At 100% volume, they're like just ridiculously loud, to the point where if you go above 85%, they sound pretty messy, but at least you got the volume there if you like. And in terms of microphone quality, this is some of Soundpeak's best microphone quality that they've ever released. And these are also one of the few Soundpeak's earbuds that has wireless charging, which at this price is honestly pretty impressive to see. Also combine a really comfortable and pretty secure fit. These are one of the best all-rounders that Soundpeak's has on offer. The only issue is with relatively subpar battery life. life for a case that is a little bit on the chunky side. Apart from that, still 100% worth it today. Now at number 7, we have the second earbud I ever reviewed on this channel, the one and only TrueShift 2. Definitely one of Soundpeat's coolest looking earbuds, and to this day, still have their most secure fit in their whole true wireless range. Just keep in mind, the buds are still a bit chunky, so sorry, small-eared people. They also have a pretty deep fit with a little bit of a suction feeling if you're not into that. But like the True Buds, they also have a case that you can use as a battery bank, this time with 100 hours total. And I must say, this case has saved me a couple of times over the year or two that I've owned these buds. A couple of train trips, my phone was dead. I wanted some audio to listen to on the way to the city, grabbed my TrueShift 2, brought my charging cable, I had my bangers, I had my phone charging. It was a good time. Thank you, TrueShift 2. So pretty handy and unique feature you don't really see too much nowadays in the true wireless world. It's not just the case though. These have some of Soundpeat's best sound with a nice boomy bass response, pretty decent clarity, but definitely a nice bass heavy sound that works great with EDM, with rock, metal, classical, and pretty much any genre as well. They don't go incredibly loud, but still loud enough. Rate them like an 8 out of 10 on the volume scale. One slight con though, like the True Capsule, touch control sensitivity isn't the best, slightly better than the True Capsule. They probably work like 90% of the time. And I actually thought my case was dead for the last like maybe 6 months. But a quick tip, if your case is dead on any pair of earbuds, just get a bit of sandpaper, lightly sand down the charging pins on the case and the earbuds, brush it off, and my TrueShift 2 case is now working fine again. All right, now on to number 6. And surprisingly, we have Soundpeat's latest release, the Sonic Pro. And I was actually gonna chuck these in a little bit lower, but it is the features and specs that do carry it through. Latest Bluetooth 5.2 chips, aptX adaptive, low latency mode, as well as wireless charging. The fit and comfort is also some of the best in the Soundpeat's true wireless world, just behind the TrueShift 2 there. The case is also probably their third smallest, but still a little bit on the chunky side. These would have been higher if the sound wasn't so lackluster. Not bad, but it's actually Soundpeat's first natural sounding sound signature compared to their normal V-shape bass heavy certified Soundpeat sound. So bass has a bit of boom to it. It's a more natural bass response. Mids are nice and clear though, but the treble it's honestly nothing impressive. And I can see what they're going for, making their first natural sounding earbud, but it honestly just left me wanting more. And if the Sonic Pro was just a beefed up version of the Sonic, these would be much higher, potentially in the top 3 of this list. But that does bring me to number 5 now. We have the Sonic. And to sum it up, exactly the same as the Sonic Pro. They don't have wireless charging, but in terms of sound quality, the Sonic here are completely different, because the Sonic have Soundpeat's most bass heavy subwoofer, bass head certified sound that they have ever released. And these are pretty much up there with the most bass head certified earbuds that I've ever tested. The only issue I have here is with volume. If they just had at least 2 more notches of volume, these would also be much higher on the list. And the Sonic Pro did increase the volume, but only slightly, like just by 1 notch. I was honestly expecting more from the Sonic Pro, but like comparing the sound here, I honestly like the Sonic way better. You get more bass, the trebles push further forward, and he's got a nice, richer, deeper sound that I prefer. You might not. You might like the Sonic Pro's natural bass response. We all have different tastes, but still a great bud, one of Soundpeat's best. So that's why the Sonic are coming in at number 5. All right, at number 4, we have the True Engine 3 SE. The reason these are higher now is because they were recently updated with the QC3040 chip. Same chip you see in the Sonic and Sonic Pro. So same connectivity. You're also getting aptX adaptive now, better battery life, as well as a low latency mode. But the reason the 3SE are ranked higher than the Sonic and Sonic Pro is with their sound quality and volume. They go slightly louder than the Sonic. But in terms of overall balanced sound with nice deep bass, these are pretty much Soundpeat's best. Actually, their second best. The best sounding one is coming up soon. Stay tuned for that. But especially for the price you're paying here, this is some of the best deep bass to clarity that you can get. And you can crank these at 100%. You get no distortion and they still sound really good. The fit isn't as secure as a Sonic, but for most people, this should be fine. They are a little bit more compact, but due to that kind of open driver design, they might not work the best for some people. I know plenty of reviewers that love the fit, plenty of reviewers that didn't like the fit. The mic quality also isn't the best. It should still do the job, but this is when Soundpeats went through a phase of having bad mic quality for whatever reason. But be sure to check out all the microphone samples at the end of the video. But again, it's mainly the sound that carries these through to the number 4 spot. spot, and they're actually my favorite looking Soundpeats earbud still to this day. They look really cool. All right, onto the top 3 now, and coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the True Air 2. The main reason these are ranked so high is because these are one of the few budget AirPods clones out there that actually get the fit pretty much spot on. Because when it comes to this semi-in-ear earbud design, if the bud doesn't go deep enough, you're not getting enough bass, and you're not going to get the most out of the sound, which the original AirPods pretty much mastered. The True Air 2 aren't as good as the AirPods, but I'll give them like an 8.5 out of 10 compared. So compared to the True Buds and the True Air, you're getting a much better fit. The buds are a lot more compact here as well, more compact than the AirPods as well. And the actual bass you're getting is way better than the True Buds and the True Air, and you're getting really nice clarity. They go incredibly loud too, almost as loud as a Q actually. And it's not just better than other Soundpeats semi-in-ear earbuds. These are still the best budget semi-in-ear earbud in the whole true wireless world, because it's not just the fit and the sound. The case is incredibly compact, pretty much as smaller than the AirPods case, with solid battery life considering. Mic quality is also up there with some of Soundpeats' best. The only real con is with touch controls are a little bit too sensitive, kind of like the True Capsule 2, where you grab it at the top, but nowhere near as bad as the Capsule 2. So this is a great bud if you want that semi-in-ear earbud design. With a case, you can just chuck in your pocket and forget that it's there. And there's also an updated version I just found out recently called the True Air 2 Plus that has aptX adaptive, it has wireless charging as well as a game mode now for pretty much the same price. So I'll link that down below. It's only available on AliExpress, but be sure to check that out if you want those extra features. So that rightfully gives the True Air 2 the number 3 spot there. All right, number 2 is here, and this bud, it's kind of in the name. We have the T2, and this is actually Soundpeats' second noise cancelling earbud. I think the first was a T, but that never got released on like most markets. So I would say the T2 here is kind of Soundpeats' first proper noise cancelling earbud that they've ever released. And boy, did they nail it with the noise cancelling on their first proper noise cancelling earbud. Because in terms of my overall noise cancelling ranking, the T2 are still at my number 4 spot. And that's not just in that price range, that's in any price range out of any true wireless earbud with noise cancelling that I've ever tested. The transparency mode is also really good, and at the price you're paying for these are number 1 by far. But it's not just this, the fit here is incredibly comfortable and strangely secure as well, considering how comfortable and how kind of easy it is to fit into your ear. They kind of just rest there, you don't get any of that deep kind of suction feeling that in-ear earbuds can have at times. The case is also really compact, slightly larger than the True Air 2 case, but Soundpeats' second most compact case. You do get 3 LED indicators on the front there, which I love to see on my cases. And mic quality is also up there with some of Soundpeats' best. The only real issue I had with these buds was with the sound quality. And when I reviewed them, I think I was like a little bit harsh on the sound, because these bring a little bit more balance to the table compared to that signature bass heavy V-shape Soundpeats sound, because you're still getting bass that hits pretty deep, has more punch to it. Mids are more of the focus here, with a treble response that's pretty smooth, not too sparkly or not too direct. And at first I didn't really like it, but I can see why they tune these to kind of fit to the broader audience, especially for their first noise cancelling earbud. And that seemed to really work, because plenty of you in the comments have mentioned that you loved the sound of the T2, and they're actually really easy to EQ as well if you want to do that on Spotify or on your Android EQ apps as well. So really great job for Soundpeats' first proper noise cancelling earbud, and I'm honestly really keen to see what they have in store for us in the future with their future noise cancelling releases. All right, number 1 is here, and look, if you follow my channel, you can probably guess what it's going to be. And these aren't just my favorite Soundpeats earbud, these are still one of my favorite just all-round earbuds that I've ever tested. It's in the name. We have the one and only Soundpeats H1. And the reason it's number 1 is simply because of that deep subwoofer bass to clarity ratio. And this is pretty much the pinnacle of that signature Soundpeats bass heavy sound, because the bass you're getting here and the amount of clarity compared, it's honestly crazy, because you get that subwoofer feel in your head. It's nice and deep, but still the mids and the treble come through nice and clear with that hybrid Nails balanced armature driver, pushing out some nice juicy treble. You get great clarity, great bass. Soundstage and imaging is also some of Soundpeats' best that they have on offer. And the volume here is incredibly loud. At 100%, these absolutely crank. You'll never need to venture above 85% volume. If you want to though, they still retain the exact same sound. There's no distortion. They even sound better when you're at like 95%, 100% if you want to venture to those volumes. The Qs still have like another notch on the H1, but they get really messy above 85%, where the H1s still sound amazing at 100% volume. So the H1 is still my number one out of any true wireless earbud that I've tested when it comes to loud listening with pretty much no distortion. But it's not just the volume, they still sound really good at all volumes. And look, if you're a bass head, you're absolutely going to love these. If you're not a bass head, you probably will still like these, but just keep in mind, this is nothing like a balanced sound. This is bass heavy, bass head certified sound with clarity that shouldn't be as clear as it is. And you're getting the latest Bluetooth chips. These were one of the first, I think, true wireless earbuds to ever actually have aptX Adaptive in them. Really great battery life, and they look pretty cool, which doesn't hurt. They aren't perfect though. They are a bit chunkier than the 3SE with a similar fit, so that open driver design does get in the way for some people. For me, they fit almost perfectly, so I can use them for anything, weight training, running. There's no way they're gonna fall out of my ears, but some people, the fit isn't the best. But when it does come to training, when I need a nice bass heavy loud earbud, the sound works great, the fit works great. So if I'm going for a heavy lift, the H1 are always by my side, or in my ears, I guess, which is closer than by my side, but it's within me. We are one. The H1 and I are one. Oh, H1. Oh, H1. I don't know what I'm saying. This has been a long video. Oh, no. Anyway, moving on. The case is also a little bit on the chunky side. The mic quality isn't the best, but look, this brings me back to why these are number one. It's simply for the best bass to clarity ratio you can get at this price. And that's why I still use these buds pretty much every day and why they rightfully have earned the number one spot. All right, and that wraps up today's video. Knowing Soundpeats, they're going to release like another 10 buds by the end of the year. So when they do that, I'll do another one of these ranked videos if you like this one today. But until then, I'll leave you with a microphone ranking here from worst to best. So check that out. But in the meantime, stay tuned. And of course, stay picky with your audio because life's too short for crappy sound. See you in the next video. Bye now. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats Force Pro. And here's what they sound like with a crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Buds. And here's what they sound like with the crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Free 2. And here's what they sound like with a little bit of crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats Q30 HD. And here's what they sound like with a bit of crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Air. And here's what they sound like with some crowd noise being simulated off my computer speakers. All right, so here is a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Wings. And here's what it sounds like with a crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Shift 2, and here's what they sound like with a little bit of crowd noise being emulated off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Capsule number 2, and here's what they sound like with a little bit of crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Air 2, and here's what they sound like with a bit of crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats H1. And here's what they sound like with a little bit of crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Engine 3 SE. And here's what they sound like with a little bit of crowd noise being pushed out of my computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats T2 noise cancelling earbuds. And here's what they sound like with a little bit of crowd noise being emitted through my desktop computer speakers. All right, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats True Capsule Originals. And here's what they sound like with a crowd noise being played
off my computer speakers.
Alright, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats Sonic. And here's what they sound like with some crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. Alright, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats Sonic Pro. And this is what they sound like with a little bit of crowd noise being played off my computer speakers. Alright, here's a microphone test with the Soundpeats Q. And this is what they sound like with a little bit of crowd noise being played off my computer speakers.
With soundstage. No. See, it's not the best. Bye now.